Tonight, Hurricane Katrina 5 years later. New Orleans, then.
We need help, sir. We really need help.
And now.
New Orleans is not back to normal.
What's changed and what hasn't? The calm before the storm.
It's the peak of hurricane season. This is the danger zone time.
Hurricane watch as a trio of powerful weather systems turns in the Atlantic. And British Columbia's biggest celebrity.
I've never seen one before.
A giant star makes a show-stopping appearance.
It's a very rare occurrence.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Good evening. Some say the people of New Orleans spent this day remembering a calamity that happened 5 years ago. Others say they're still living it, and that includes U.S. President Barack Obama, who agreed today there is still a lot of work to be done to complete the recovery from the ravages of Hurricane Katrina. The storm killed more than 1,800 people along the Gulf Coast. As CTV's Paul Workman tells us, while the struggle to recover continues, there is an unmistakable spirit at work.
At all times, good and bad, the people of New Orleans turn to music. On this day, the residents of the lower 9th Ward held a parade. A healing ceremony, they called it.
One of the levees has broken.
5 years ago, a section of seawall collapsed, and the 9th Ward was suddenly devastated. And to this day, there is one belief that everybody considers indisputable. This was not a natural disaster, it was man-made. President Barack Obama more or less said the same as he spoke of the shameful breakdown in government and celebrated the city's determination to rebuild.
Together, we are helping to make New Orleans a place that stands for what we can do in America, not just for what we can't do.
We need help, sir. We really need help.
Remember these scenes. Thousands of people trapped in horrific conditions at the city's convention center. Among them, 9-year-old Charles Evans, then and today.
We just need some help out here. It is so pitiful.
I just wish that things would kind of be back to normal, and New Orleans is not back to normal.
True, many parts of the lower 9th are still in ruins. But also true, New Orleans has made steady, seeable progress. 5 years and moving on.
It devastated our lives, but it's all about celebrating the fact that we can lose people, but we can also keep our faith, keep our hope. We can still do the things we did before Katrina in spite of everything else.
A devastating hurricane, and then 5 years later, a devastating oil spill. New Orleans and the Gulf Coast have suffered enormous losses. This time, said Obama, the government will not let people down. Paul Workman, CTV News, Washington.
This year's hurricane season is in high gear already as tropical disturbances start stacking up on the weather maps. Today, northern Caribbean islands braced for heavy weather and ships began scurrying for cover. CTV's Omar Sachedina reports.
On one of the last weekends of summer, beaches across the U.S. eastern seaboard were teeming with people, but many were in for a surprise.
When the waves went over us, you actually had to hold on for the riptide not to take you out.
It's so rough that you really can't enjoy it.
Lifeguards feverishly alerted beachgoers to the strong undertow caused by Hurricane Danielle.
You can see the eye of the storm there toward the center of the screen.
Which was rated a Category 4 storm when NASA captured these images Friday, but has since been downgraded to a Category 1. Much weaker, but still strong enough to give swimmers a scare.
It would always pull me under and I'd get tossed around under the water.
It's definitely very, very strong.
The current's so strong, dozens of people had to be pulled out from the water. Here, the Coast Guard rescuing 2 men from a capsized boat. And in another incident, a surfer who was found unconscious on his surfboard later died. Danielle has also temporarily halted a multi-billion-dollar high-tech expedition that is creating a detailed map of the wreckage of the Titanic. Crew forced to return to St. John's, Newfoundland until the hurricane passes. But even as Danielle says goodbye, another Category 1 hurricane, Earl, is roaring up from behind, already threatening the northern Caribbean. And waiting in the wings, a third system, Fiona, currently churning across from Western Africa and picking up steam. It is the peak of hurricane season, meaning all this activity isn't unusual, and neither is the reaction. Residents in the Caribbean are stocking up on supplies, flights are being canceled, and officials are setting up emergency shelters just in case Hurricane Earl makes landfall. Omar Sachedina, CTV News, Toronto.
Indonesia is experiencing its own force of nature as a volcano erupted for the first time in 400 years. Earlier today, Mount Sinabung spewed hot lava and sand more than 1.5 kilometers into the sky. The volcano started rumbling a few days ago, prompting the government to evacuate 10,000 people from the northwestern part of the island of Sumatra. The eruption was brief and caused no major damage. Now, nearly 130 adventure seekers had to be rescued from a cruise ship in Canada's far north. The Clipper Adventurer, seen here in a promotional video, was exploring the Northwest Passage when it ran aground on a large uncharted rock. The ship has been stranded off the coast of Western Nunavut near the town of Coppermine since Friday, when the call for help went out. It took a Canadian Coast Guard ice cutter nearly 2 days to travel the 800 kilometers from the Beaufort Sea to the site. Passengers and crew are all said to be fine. The fourth man to be arrested in relation to a terror investigation, 20-year-old Aso Peshtari, will be held in an Ottawa jail at least until Tuesday. 3 men have been charged with taking part in a plot to conduct terrorist activities in Canada. If there is evidence linking Peshtari to the plot, it has not been made public. Instead, he's charged with assault and will appear for a bail hearing. CTV's Richard Madden reports.
His family arrived at the Ottawa courthouse hoping for his release, but terror suspect Aso Peshtari is detained again for another 2 days on domestic charges unrelated to terrorism.
Overall, he's fairly depressed by it.
His lawyer says police are using delay tactics.
He comes to court today fully prepared to deal with those charges and finds out the Crown is looking to adjourn it again so they can try to scrape up more charges.
Peshtari has been held since Friday. Police say he's the 4th suspect of an alleged homegrown terrorist cell, but there's no known evidence that links him to the 3 others accused in a plot to bomb Canadians.
Obviously, the police don't have a sort of a salient plan in terms of charging the guy with a terrorist offense.
So the question now, just how long can police keep up this strategy?
They're running out of time now. This is about I think it's the 2nd or 3rd time they've done this. I mean, the lawyer and the judges are going to look at this exactly what it is, and they're going to ask them to sort of end it or come up with something tangible.
Police say of the 3 men charged, 1, a former Canadian Idol contestant, were just months away from detonating bombs on Canadian soil.
Our community has hit the headlines once again.
For Canadian Muslims, these arrests come during Islam's holiest month of Ramadan, prompting religious leaders to say this.
As Canadian Muslims, we denounce all forms of violence and all forms of terrorism.
Peshtari's lawyer says his client's anxiety is threatening his health.
Right now is Ramadan, which means he's fasting during daylight hours and breaking fast after darkness falls, and then when darkness falls, he's found himself unable to eat.
A publication ban stops us from reporting all evidence from this weekend's court appearances, but Peshtari's lawyer insists his client has no criminal history, yet this turn of events will keep him in custody until Tuesday at the earliest. Sandy.
All right, thanks, Richard. CTV's Richard Madden in Ottawa for us tonight. In politics now, the end of a cross-country odyssey. After racking up some impressive statistics, Liberal leader Michael Ignatieff's meet and greet bus is about to roll to a halt. His summer-long tour covered almost 40,000 kilometers in 10 provinces and 2 territories. It will end tomorrow in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, where the Liberals will hold a caucus retreat. The Masstown Market in Cape Breton was the 139th stop of the tour.
People like politics coming to them. They like politicians getting out of Ottawa, coming to the market, shaking hands.
Here as elsewhere, the emphasis was on meeting people, not speech making. CTV's Roger Smith has been keeping track of the road trip and joined us earlier today from Bedeque, Nova Scotia. Roger, what did Michael Ignatieff accomplish with this cross-country trek?
Well, Sandy, Michael Ignatieff has been on the road for 55 days this summer. He's covered 39,000 kilometers and done 140 events in every province and territory. For the leader and for his team, this has basically been a road test for the rigors of a real election campaign, and it does seem that Ignatieff's performance is a little more relaxed now. For most of the time, he flew under the radar of the national media, but he did get a lot of regional coverage, and while that hasn't moved the polls yet, Liberals say it's given them big momentum to build on.
So what will they do with this, Roger? How will they capitalize on it?
Well, the first step seems to be stepping up the attack on Stephen Harper for killing the long-form census, for proroguing Parliament twice, and for undermining watchdog agencies that the Tories don't see eye to eye with. Remember last week, Harper was riding that ATV in the Northwest Territories. When he got off, he was asked, "Do you have a license for that thing?" And he replied, "I make up the rules." Well, it may have been a joke, but Ignatieff's worked that line into his stump speech, and he says it reveals the kind of dictatorial, bullying tendencies that Canadians don't want from their Prime Minister.
CTV's Roger Smith in Bedeque, and we spoke to Roger earlier today. When we return, saving the underdog, the innocent victims of economic bad times.
Chicken Thursday. Chicken Thursday. Oh, look, Chicken Thursday. In a rut, try Old El Paso. It's mucho family fun, and you can say adios to Chicken Thursday. Old El Paso, mucho fun tonight.
Hey, Karen, I see you are getting 20% of your daily fiber. Tasty, healthy choice, too. That's why I thought we could go out. It's me, Sneakers.
Meet your healthy lifestyle. Step 1 is Fiber One.
British Columbia's fishing industry has landed the big one this summer after many tough years. The Fraser River is overflowing with salmon. In fact, it's the largest run in almost 100 years. While the sockeye surge is keeping fishermen flush with cash and consumers' freezers full of fish, some wonder if this could be too much of a good thing. CTV's Norma Reed explains.
It's the largest salmon run in a century. There could be as many as 30 million sockeye salmon flowing in these waters. Good news on the docks and for the wallet.
We're charging $20 a sockeye right now.
But so many fish has brought concern over the way it's been managed.
Industry is feeling the strain. In fact, I would say they're busting a gut.
Some worry too much will be caught with not enough people to buy.
With their freezers full, commercial freezer capacity all over the lower mainland full, people being turned away at plant doors, some fishermen may be put in a position where they have to dispose of their catch.
Here at Ocean Fisheries, processing is unexpectedly running at capacity.
We were disappointed last year at the lack of fish, and this year it's the exact opposite.